So my name is Shelly Cornish and I have been with Forever Vets for 3 years now. And when I first started, I was the marketing assistant, kind of developing the marketing department. And now I am the director of marketing.
What made you want to work at Forever Vets?
So I graduated from Stetson University in 2018 with a bachelor's in communication and media studies. I've always had a passion for animals, and I've always had a passion for photography and social media, tracking the trends and things like that. And I was probably out of 38 applicants or something, the youngest, the least experienced, and I don't know, they saw something in me.
So tell us about how the department has grown and where it's come from since the beginning.
So like I stated, I was given a binder when I first started Forever Vets, and with that, you know, it was the logins to what they had, and I was given free space to be as creative as possible, which, you know, it's a win-win situation because I love animals and I get to be creative and use my degree at such a young age, coming right out of college. Like, that's unheard of. My first year I helped open Nocatee, then from Nocatee we went to Riverside, then from Riverside we went to Bartram Market, and we're not done yet. It's always been a fun-filled work environment since the first day, and there's always room for not only growth within the company as a whole, but individually. I know my bosses, Dr. G and Jerry, they are probably the best bosses that I've ever had, and someone to actually take a chance on you when you're that young, that really shows like the type of people that they are.
What makes you want to stay with Forever Vets?
The people, 100% the people. I would say that Forever Vets is a part of my identity now, and all of the people that I have grown with in the company, you know, that they're not just coworkers, they are family.
So Shelly, you talked about the core values that you have at Forever Vets and why it's important. But which one do you think is the most important, especially in your role?
I would definitely say confidence. Walking into any situation, no matter what your position is in the company, you need to have confidence in not only yourself, but also your team. So I don't see myself going anywhere, and there's a lot of people my age that are fresh out of school that have said something like, oh, this is just my first job, this is my beginner job. And I honestly can say that I'm not going anywhere. This is my job, this is what I wanted to do, this is why I went to school, this is my passion, these are my people. So this is my forever home.
I'm Alicia and I work at the Maribel location. I am the lead receptionist. I've been there about like 3 years.
How did you find out about Forever Vets?
I actually went online and applied, and it was so funny because I was going for another job interview that same day, and Nicole had called me, and I went that day back to all the way to the same area, and Nicole interviewed me, and then I came back the next day for the working interview, and then a week later I started.
What made you want to even apply for Forever Vets? Like, why did you want to work there?
I love animals. Ever since I was young, my mom always rescued animals, and we were raised to love animals. And I'm a cat person, so I love my cats.
How many cats do you have?
I have 6.
After spending some time and reflecting back on your 3 years with Forever Vets, what makes you want to stay with this company?
Loyalty. They gave me the opportunity to work without any veterinary experience, and I'm very grateful for that. And I love the clientele, I love the patients, I also love the staff that I work with, and I have also a wonderful manager that she's really good to me, and I'm very grateful for her. But other than that, I mean, I just love working for Forever Vets, and Dr. G and Kerry are wonderful.
Out of all the core values, which one do you think is your favorite?
I gotta say compassion. Compassion. Because you have to have compassion to be able to work in this field. You have to care about the animals, you have to care about the clients that bring their babies in, because they're so worried about them half of the time because either they're sick or they just need a checkup. So if you don't have that, it wouldn't work out. Yes, I started as a receptionist and I worked up my way to be a lead. And you know, there's some stuff that I had to work on, and Nicole helped me through it. She made me a better person, basically. My attitude, having compassion, having understanding, working with the other receptionists. So when they see that, they saw that I was improving and I was doing very well, and that's when they made me the lead receptionist within a year.
Where do you see yourself with our Forever Vets family?
Still here, he keeps expanding, so wherever he expands, I will follow. I will see myself Forever Vets forever.
My name is Kerry. I've been with Forever Vets for 4 years. Started out as a receptionist, worked up to lead receptionist, and then management 2 years ago.
Why did you first want to start working at Forever Vets?
Honestly, I thought this was going to kind of be a stepping stone for me. My career path is in architectural drafting, and a friend of mine introduced me to Forever Vets. So I applied, got the job, and from there I loved seeing the pets come in every day. I loved the clients, and Dr. G and Jerry and Stormy were amazing. You know, you could just tell that they were all family oriented more than the corporate life.
What made you want to continue to grow, to not only go for lead receptionist, but also?
From the very start, probably my first week there, Dr. G walked in the door and introduced himself and knew my name. That was pretty amazing to me, knowing he had so many locations, so many employees, and knew me right away. It just made me feel like he really cared.
What advice do you have for others that want to pursue a career in, medicine?
I know it kind of sounds silly, but it's the whole never give up. There's always going to be, those clients in certain aspects that you just absolutely love and just can't see yourself not being with them. And then never give up, keep learning. We learn every day, no matter how long anybody has been in this field, you continue to learn and have confidence. Have confidence in yourself and that you are growing, because you're going to grow every day.
Why do you still continue to stay with Forever Vets?
I love coming in every day, seeing our staff grow. They're in the same position I was in 4 years ago starting, and just seeing them have that sparkle in their eye when they learn something, having that extra enthusiasm. And then it kind of always goes back to Dr. G and Jerry, just that they truly do care about their employees, their staff, and how involved they are with us. I love that he's consistently growing. I think that says a lot about Forever Vets' name and our community, that they, our community does trust us, does love us. I get a lot that they're moving away from Tinseltown, but moving to another area of town that we do have Forever Vets, and they're like, oh, we're so sad to see you, but at least we're staying in the family. So I would love to see Forever Vets grow, as the community grows.
My name is David Bergeron, and I've been with Forever Vets now 4.5 years. I am the Client Solutions Manager, formerly the Wellness Manager.
What made you want to start to work at Forever Vets Animal Hospital?
Well, I worked in human medicine for like 27 years. I worked in a cardiology office doing just about everything, and my doctor that hired me back in the 80s actually retired, and I decided I didn't want to work there anymore. So I took some time off, and then I saw where Forever Vets was hiring. I did a little research on the company, and I thought that'd be fun to work with animals, and it turns out I was right, because I absolutely love it.
When you first started at Forever Vets, you were a receptionist, correct?
I was a receptionist.
And you were at which location?
I was at the Bay Meadows location. At the time, there was only 3 hospitals back in the day, and the receptionist job was really hard.
How many years did that take, after you were being a receptionist?
Well, as the company grew, of course, our wellness plans definitely grew, and it got to the point where one person couldn't handle it. So we decided to create a wellness department. We hired 4 employees to start with, and I actually created this department from scratch. We had nothing, and now we have protocols written. We do things certain ways, and it's been fun to watch it evolve into what it's become today.
What makes you want to stay at Forever Vets?
Well, I think our ownership and our COO really show loyalty to their employees, and it makes me want to show loyalty back. I think our core values, our 5 core values, mean a lot. I've actually used those core values in my personal life, and it's helped me grow as an individual. Even though I'm older, doesn't mean you can't stop growing and learning. And the core values really mean a lot to me. So that keeps me wanting to stay here.
Out of all the memories that you have with Forever Vets this far, which one do you think would be your favorite one?
Well, ironically, it's working with you in the marketing department, because I love going to all the events, to the baseball games, the hockey games. I love helping you out. It's hard work at times, but it's a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding to me to be out in the community sharing our story.
Where do you see yourself in our Forever Vets community?
Well, I plan on retiring here. I have a funny story that I tell Jerry, our COO, every year on my birthday. I let her know how many years I have till I retire. So this past birthday, November 29th was my birthday, I told her I have 7 years left because I plan on retiring when I'm 65. So when I have my next birthday, she'll know, because I'll say, you have me for 6 more years. So I have no intention of going anywhere until I retire. That's how much I love it here.
My name is Nicole Evans. I've been with Forever Vets Animal Hospital for 5.5 years, and I am currently a practice manager.
What made you want to start working here at Forever Vets?
So I've always loved animals since the time I was a little girl. I've always wanted to work in the animal industry in some way to where I can help animals. So veterinary field is definitely my goal. And I worked at Longhorn for a series of years. I'd worked with someone in particular, and she actually left to come work at a veterinary hospital, and it happened to be Forever Vets. She told me about it, how wonderful of a company it was, and I expressed how much interest I had, and she got me an interview, and I got the position as a veterinary technician.
Since you've been with the company for a little bit, what makes you want to stay working here at Forever Vets?
So the reason why I feel that I would stay here long term until I'm old and gray is because the company is an amazing company. The owner of the company, the CEO of the company, they go above and beyond for their employees. And not only do they go above and beyond for their employees, but they also go above and beyond for their clients and the pets. To see them practice the way that they practice is such an inspiration to me that it just makes me want to be better. It makes me want to go above and beyond.
What would your advice be for any emerging leaders?
So I would recommend for anyone who is looking to go into a leadership position is to keep your heart in it. So make sure that you stay passionate, because that's always how we get into this field, is we're passionate. We love being in it because we want to help the animals, we want to help clients, we want to educate them, give them knowledge. As long as you have that passion and you express it to all of your staff, you will always be successful.
What is one story or memory that stands out the most during your time at Forever Vets?
So I remember when I had first started, we had this little puppy come in. It was very late at night. It was an emergency. What happened was the puppy's sibling, they were eating dinner, and the other dog was a little bit food aggressive. So the puppy went to go play, and then the other dog nipped at the puppy. So the owner called, of course, frantic. We told her just to come right on in. We would definitely see them. The dog had a puncture on its head as well as a fractured jaw. We were really concerned about it because the baby was only probably about 8 weeks old, so it was super small. It was a little white pit bull. So Dr. G and I worked on this patient. We told him we had to sedate the baby to repair the jaw and also the wounds on its head. So we did that. During the sedation, the puppy ended up crashing. We had to resuscitate and intubate the animal to make sure that we could get her revived. We were able to do this, and then we were able to fix the wounds in the jaw for the baby. And then she recovered wonderfully. She came back, she was happy, she was playful. And just to see that, just to see from going an emergency, helping this client out, helping this patient out, to see go from there to something that could have been super tragic, to be able to save this life and help this animal was absolutely amazing.
Let's fast forward maybe 10 years down the road. Where do you see Forever Vets?
So I picture Forever Vets 10 years down the road to be expanded throughout the United States. Maybe not all over at first, but maybe within the local states to Florida. And I see them being a growing business, exemplifying that great customer service, that great patient care, and being able to reach out to our communities everywhere to help all patients and all clients.
Hi, I'm Dr. Linda. I like first name basis, so Linda's good. And I even tell my clients that, call me whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. I've been with Forever Vets for a little over 4 years, actually 4 years and 1 month, and have loved every moment of it.
So, Dr. Linda, could you tell us more of your story about why you wanted to go into veterinary medicine?
So it goes way back to when I was 7 years old in Jacksonville Beach, and my father hit a rabbit in the road. He immediately pulled over, and I jumped out of the car with him, and he pulled the rabbit off the road. But I said, let's take it to get it fixed, like to the hospital. And my dad explained to me that doctors that work on animals are different than doctors that work on people, and they are called veterinarians. And I said, okay, well, one day I want to be a veterinarian. And I did.
Not only do you work on cats and dogs, but you do exotics. So can you walk us through why you chose to go that route?
It's very simple. As a human doctor, legally, they can only practice on one species, and that's a human. Legally, as a veterinarian, I can work on every species that walks the planet but a human. So therefore, if I take an oath to take care of these species of animals, I better know what I'm doing in regards to a bird, or a snake, or a gerbil, hamster, rabbit, dog, cat. Because they're going to seek out advice and care for their pet, whether it's a dog or rabbit. And that's what motivated me. I was scared of snakes, absolutely. But I felt that it was only fair as part of my oath to definitely become more comfortable with different species of animals.
What's the biggest difference between working at Forever Vets Animal Hospital and previous practices that you've worked at?
So I have actually worked at several private practices and loved the relationship amongst everyone, whether you're a receptionist, technician, the doctor, everyone was on a first name basis, and it was very, very family oriented. I got into a situation where I moved from California to Florida, and I thought I was interviewing for a private practice. Turned out it was corporate. And I went ahead and I said, well, I'll try it. And within that corporate setting, everything changed. There were no first name basis. Everything was very formal. I came to realize that the setting of a corporate entity is very, very different from private practice. And then I heard about Dr. G. I elected to seek out Dr. G's practices that he has all over Jacksonville, and was able to obtain an opportunity for an interview, and he hired me.
What motivates you to want to continue your career with Kerry?
It is everything I ever hoped for and wished for in a workplace. Because as you know, this is where we live. We're here a majority of our day. And it is even more than I've ever had at any other private practice, even though I thought that was the best of the best. Didn't experience the best of the best until I came to work for Forever Vets.
I'm Ellie Pittman. I'm the lead veterinarian at our Racetrack Road location. I came to Forever Vets actually almost exactly 4 years ago. June 1st is my anniversary.
So why did you decide to want to go into veterinary medicine?
The biggest reason I wanted to go into veterinary medicine is obviously the love of animals. I was always that kid bringing home pets. Always had a horse, always had a dog, always had a cat, always had a rabbit. Luckily, my mom's a big animal lover, and so I kind of got that gene from her. And the love of the science too. It's not just about loving the animal, it's like loving the surgeries and figuring out medical cases and what's wrong with the animals and the medicine and the knowledge. It's fun.
What made you want to work at Forever Vets Animal Hospital right now?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. My sister was going to law school at a law school here in Jacksonville, and I went to undergrad right next to home, and then I went to vet school right next to home. And I figured I need to move away for at least a year just to grow up and become an adult. And so I decided, hey, when I go visit my sister for like a little weekend trip here in Jacksonville, I'll just do a practice interview. So I booked it with Dr. G in one other hospital and met him at our Tinseltown location and walked in, and it was kind of crazy that within 5 minutes, Dr. G looked at me and said, man, Dr. Pittman, I feel like I've known you my whole life. And kind of from there, we kind of had an almost immediate connection, very similar values, very similar kind of viewpoints on the world and medicine and efficiency, and it just really clicked. And he offered me the job on the spot, and it's all history now.
What made you want to stay?
So the biggest reason I like staying is there's such a bunch of room for growth. So not only for my technicians and my receptionists to become lead, and so there's a bunch of growth for my staff, which is a lot of fun for us to kind of build up our staff members. Most of my staff's been with me for, believe it or not, greater than 2 years. So it's really, really great for veterinary medicine. Turnover tends to be quite high, and you know, I have this really steady, fun, educated team that basically we know each other like the back of our hand, and it really is a family. So it's a really fun work environment, not only because they make my life easier, but we just have a really good time.
How has it been to only work your way up to be the lead vet at Ellie? But now that you've stepped back and really see the company as a whole, and you've taken on some mentorship role with the new grad, how does that feel?
It's great. I'm still new enough in the field that I remember being a new grad. Like, I really remember it like it was yesterday, and so I feel like I can really put myself in their place and kind of understand where they are. It's also fun because they have a lot of great information from vet school that I forget, and so it is really, really fun, but it's actually really great to see them do their first surgeries. And then it's kind of fun to, like, all the things that I learn every single day to kind of pass that information on to quicken their process, and I know the things that I struggled with, and then to kind of build them up, and then also encouragement. This is a really, really hard field, between the emotions of our clients, between the long hours, the emotional drain of losing pets, and so we get to kind of share the burden and the joy of it, and to kind of share my experience and kind of walk them through what's normal, what's not normal, how to set expectations. Kind of the emotional part of it sometimes is the hardest part of our job, and so, you know, the medicine's kind of the fun, nitty-gritty, get your hands dirty, and that's the fun part, but walking them through kind of the emotional, difficult, and kind of being there. And I remember when I felt the way that they felt and what I wanted to hear Dr. G say and the words that he gave me, and then I can kind of pass that along. So if I can make it a little bit easier and a little bit happier and a little less stress-free, then I think I've done my job.
So my name is Stormy Day. I've been with the company since 2016. I started out as a receptionist and then was moved up to a technician and practice manager and finally a director. So now I oversee 4 of our locations.
How did your journey begin with Forever Vets?
So it started the weekend prior to actually moving to Jacksonville. My boyfriend at the time, now husband, we were here looking for an apartment because he was fixing to start law school. And Tinseltown was actually the last hospital I went in to put in an application. But Tinseltown was the last one, and they were the only ones to actually do a physical interview, and I was actually hired on the spot as a receptionist.
Can you kind of show us a timeline throughout each position, how long you've had it?
So I started as the receptionist, was in that position for roughly 7 months, and then I was moved back to technician. I was in that position roughly 8 months, I would say, and then from there I was moved to practice manager, where I managed Tinseltown for, I'd say, 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And then from there I was moved to director, and I've only been directing for almost a year. I'm a little shy of a year.
Looking back now from your position that you currently have, what advice can you give for emerging leaders?
My biggest tip would be to don't take things personally. The people that you bring in and the people that you guide are, some are here for a season and some are here for a lifetime, and trying to finagle your way through those people is really important. And sometimes along the way you meet people that do say things that you might take personal but definitely don't. It's something that I've struggled with, but learned that it only hurts you as a leader. Every situation you're put in is something that you can learn something from. So think of it as a learning lesson and look for your lesson to be taught, and just stay patient because they will eventually blossom to what you need them to be.
Throughout your years with Forever Vets, what is one memory that sticks out most to you?
I would say the first surgery I ever did with Dr. G. I'm sure he doesn't remember because I still talk about it with him to this day. It was when we did a splenectomy. I had just been moved to the tech position. Although I did come with tech experience, nothing makes you more nervous than working with, the owner of the company. So I was very nervous and had tons and tons of questions, and he answered all of them with ease. Not only did he perform a surgery, but as most people may know by now, this is his time to get to know you. So he literally asks you about your life, your parents, what made you want to be in this field, and things like what do you want to be in the future, where do you want to be. So that was like quality time that I would never want to replace. And after that surgery, I got my first raise. So I will never forget that.
So what really motivates you to stay with Forever Vets?
So my biggest motivation to stay is the family atmosphere and how passionately Dr. G believes in his vision. I think when someone believes so strongly in something, it naturally attracts, like a magnet, people who believe the same cause and the same feel of what we're trying to provide to our community. I came from a very small hometown. I mean, we maybe had 2 red lights, and there was a good vet and a bad vet, and you didn't want to go to the bad vet. And so moving away from that to a place that is 10 times bigger than what you're used to having family around you at any call you can make. Moving away from that was very tough. So to find that in a company that believes in you as well, I don't think you would find that everywhere. So that motivates me to stay. But also the support that Dr. G and Jerry give me is something that I don't think that I could find anywhere. And again, just that sense of family, because I don't have that here. They are my family. This company is my family.